So our sermon today is a tale of two countries. Tale of two countries. Let's bow our heads as we pray. Father in heaven, we have come to the divine hour. We have come to the time when you will speak to your people. I am only an instrument, Lord, to be used by you. I want no glory. I want no fame. I want nothing from this, Lord. I just want to be used by you so that I can deliver your message. I pray, Lord, that you will remove me and hide me behind the cross. Let Jesus be seen. And let these words from my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in your sight. This is my prayer in Jesus' name. So a tale of two countries. And I thought when you saw this, you might be thinking about this gentleman. Anybody knows who is this gentleman? Huh? No, it's interactive today, okay? So I'm not going to be doing all the talking, okay? So we're going to talk to each other. I trust that we can talk to each other. So a tale of two cities. Who is this gentleman here? Yes, Mr. Dickens. All right. And he is the one who wrote that famous quote from which so much literature and so much people have commented on. This is him in his studies here, writing a tale of two cities about the French Revolution, set in the time of the French Revolution. Well, I'm not going to be talking about Mr. Dickens today and his, but I will use his quote to enhance my sermon. It was the best of times, he says. And this is the quote that is most memorable from that book, A Tale of Two Cities. But today, remember, the sermon is a tale of two. Brilliant. You are there with me. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom, it was the age of foolishness. It was the epoch of belief, it was the epoch of incredulity. It was the season of light, it was the season of darkness. It was the spring of hope, it was the winter of despair. We had everything before us, we had nothing before us. We were all going direct to heaven, we were all going direct the other way. And so this quote, as I said, is much quoted all through the literary world. It was the best of times, and it was the worst of times. So you see the contrast is happening here. And so Dickens is saying, while some things are going right and in the right direction, something is going in the other direction and it's going wrong. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. And whenever I think of this quote, I always think of the story of the Israel. They always seems they epitomize this quote very well. The best of times when they're following God, but also the worst of times when they're doing their own thing. You know, it was the age of wisdom when they're following God. And of course, we know that once you follow God, wisdom comes from God. But it was also, they will get themselves into some foolish things when they are not following God. Right? It was the epoch of belief. Everything was going, but also doubt. And we will look at that, we'll look at it in a while. Season of light, it was the season of darkness. So you always had a sort of seesaw, up and down relationship with Israel and their history. It was the spring of hope, it was the winter of despair. We had everything before us, we had nothing before us. In a twinkle of an eye, it can all be gone. We were all going direct to heaven, and we were all going the other way. It all depends on their perspective, and it all depends on who was leading them in Israel. It all depends on who is in charge. It all depends on how the people are looking at God. So this is Israel here, as we see here. And this is her around her enemies, if you want to put it in that way, or other countries. So we have here the kingdom of Israel to the north, which becomes the northern tribe, the 10 northern tribes. And Samaria became the capital, but it wasn't always the capital. There were places before Samaria became the capital. We'll be looking at that in our sermon today. And then you have the kingdom of Judah, Benjamin, Jerusalem up here. All right, and this became the southern tribe of Benjamin and Judah. Judah was the bigger tribe. But we'll see that sometimes when things were going good in Judah, some of the tribes will come back down and be part of the kingdom of Judah. And it's quite interesting to see, this is a ninth century map, okay? The kingdom of Syria, the Assyria Empire up there, the Armenian tribe, and these are the people what we'll call today. A lot of the Eastern Europeans have descended from these tribes, and the kingdom of Moab, okay, from which you had the Moabites and so on, okay, the kingdom of Edom, and these are the descent of Jacob, Esau, and so on. Okay, so these are the Philistines here. These are the Philistines, and we all know that that modern state of Palestine has evolved from the Philistines. Okay, so we have an idea of the kingdom of Israel. These two countries didn't always start off as two countries. As a matter of fact, at one time, this was one united country. Northern kingdom of Israel and the southern kingdom of Judah, one country. But then somewhere along the line, they became two countries. Am I hitting it right? Okay, can you move it for me? Next slide. So we want to look at the genealogy of the kingdom of ancient Israel and Judah. Oh, no, no. Go back. Yeah. Oh, it's playing up now. Okay, I think I got it back again. Right? And in our home, we have been studying, in our devotion, we have been studying the tribe. And what we are doing now in our devotion, for all the years, as I could remember being a parent, I have been the one leading in the devotion at home. So for this year, the first time I said everyone was going to be responsible for devotion. And they're going to have to divide up, come with your topic, and we're going to discuss it. You're going to lead the family into higher spiritual grounds. And Jesse has been studying the kings of Israel and Judah. And I got my inspiration from one of the lessons that he brought to us. Quite interesting. And I must say, you got to let these children expand. Because with that, since we have done that, I have to say I'm rather myself impressed with some of the topics that they are coming with and the depth of research. I say, go do research. You have all the books there. You have the Ellen White books. Go do your research and bring a quality devotional, a quality lesson for us. And we have been looking at some of the kings of ancient Israel, Judah. This is give you an idea of the line, the lineage of the king. So we start off with Saul, the first king, and this is when they were a united nation. We had Saul there, and then David became succeeded him because Saul, as we all know, refused to carry out the will of the Lord, and he was doing a lot of things, go to the witch of Endor and a number of things. He refused to kill the Amalekites when God said to kill them. And so the kingdom went from Saul to David. David had a number of sons, as we all know, competing sons, but Adonijah tried to usurp, but God had said that Solomon will succeed David, and we know that David had to hastily crown Solomon before Adonijah take the throne. Okay, and from Solomon we have Rehoboam, and this is where things start to go wrong. And this is where we're going to be taking up our story today, because Rehoboam was not a very good leader in Israel. Rehoboam made some unwise decisions in Israel. And as a result of that, the consequences is that the kingdom became split. Now, what we are going to be looking at today is how your decision can impact, and the lasting impact of your poor decision as a leader. But Rehoboam, the kingdom split, and this guy here, Jeroboam, He was a general under in Solomon's army, and he was a counselor for Rehoboam. But when Rehoboam did not listen, and you see, you got to listen. You got to listen as a leader. He refused to listen, and Jeroboam started a rebellion. He started a rebellion, and the people went with him. Quite a lot of the people, almost all Israel went with him when he started when Jeroboam started his rebellion. But there was a reason why they went with him. We're going to be looking at that as well. And he was succeeded by Nadab, and Nadab by Asher. Not always related. One thing with the kingdom of Israel, northern Israel, they were not, the kings did not come through a bloodline. You had this coming through on the southern kingdom, but not always, because you had strong men who will usurp and sometimes set themselves up as king. It's only when you get down to Omri that you start getting bloodline coming through. But all these fellas here were strong. Sometimes they were general in the armies. Sometimes they were strong men, and they usurped the kingdom. Okay? And then you had Elah, Zimri, and Omri. Okay? All fighting. And by this time here, the kingdom of northern Israel is in civil war. That's about 40 years after Jeroboam. You will find that the kingdom of the northern tribes, the northern kingdom of Israel, is pitched into civil war because of what is going on. And then Omri had Ahab, and we know Ahab. We all know about Ahab. Not much time is spent in the Bible on Omri, but we look at him today. But a lot of time is spent on Ahab, because that was he was with the time of Elijah. And that was his showdown. It was sort of reached an epic time in Israel with Ahab. And then from Ahab you had Azariah and Jehoram and Jehu, and it's getting worse, and it's getting worse, and it's getting worse. And this is here. Asa was with the time of Omri. We look at in our scripture reading. And we're going to see what was happening here while they were in civil war, while there was stability here. So the same time that the northern tribe was in civil war and fighting against each other, the southern kingdom was stable, and they were moving, they were prospering, and it has a reason for that. It's all there in the Word of God. Why a tale of two countries? So I'm giving you the background to the sermon today. Those of you who are online, okay? So this is the period we are looking here. This is about 40 years after Jeroboam. Is about 100 plus years since Saul has established the United Kingdom of Israel. Okay? So let's see. Next slide. Let's see what's happening here. All right. A tale of Israel. 1 Kings chapter 16. So let's go to our Bibles. And let's look at what the Bible tells us in 1 Kings chapter 16. 1 Kings chapter 16, verse 8 to 20. And I'm reading, for you to understand it a little better, I'm reading it from the Clearwood Bible. It was in the 26 years of the reign of Asa, king of Judah, that Elah the son of Baasha became king of Israel. He ruled Israel from Tirzah. So that was the capital of the northern kingdom of Israel, the 10 northern tribes. Their first capital was Tirzah. So that's where Baasha reigned. He ruled Israel from Tirzah for less than 2 years. Then, verse 9, Zimri, commander of half the king's chariot, plotted against him. So Zimri, if we go back, and I wish I could have get right. So Zimri, Baasha, Elah, Zimri, he wasn't bloodline, but he decided that he was going to plot and bring down Elah. One day Elah was visiting in the home of Asa, the man in charge of the palace, and got drunk. Then Zimri came into the house and killed him. This happened in the 27th year of the reign of Asa, king of Jerusalem. So in his 27 years, stability, you have a lot of things, turmoil going on here. And so Asa, sorry, uh, Zimri kills Elah. Verse 11. The first thing he did as king was to kill every male he could find who was related to Baasha and Elah, and even Baasha's friends. This is just what the prophet Jehu had told Baasha what would happen, and Zimri carried it out. The Lord allowed this to happen because of all the wicked things that Baasha and his son Elah had done in leading Israel into deeper sin. They knew that the worshiping idol greatly displeased the Lord, but they had done it anyway. All the other things and so on are written in the books of the king. Verse 15. It was in the 27th year of the reign of Asa, king of Judah, that Zimri became king of Israel. He had only been king for about a week. How long? 1 week. 1 week. When the army of Israel was besieging the Philistine city of Gibeah. So we know where the Philistines are. So they were besieging the Philistines, okay? The army of Israel was come down here to block off the Philistines down there as we see on the map. Okay? So he had only been king for a week when the army of Israel was besieging the Philistine city of Gibbethon, heard at what had happened. When the army heard how Zimri had killed Elah, son of Baasha, they were glad. Imagine that. Get rid of that tyrant. They were glad. And they made Omri their commander, king of Israel. Then they withdrew from Gibbethon and marched back to Tirzah. So they moved from there and they marched back up when they heard that Baasha had been killed. Zimri saw that the city was surrounded and would soon be taken. So they went back now to, when they heard what Zimri had done to Elah, who was the king, they leave the Philistines and they went back to find out what is going back in Israel, in Tirzah, in the capital. So the army leave down there and they heard that Elah was killed. They went back up there to see what is happening. Now, when Zimri heard that they were coming, he panicked. When the army heard how Zimri had killed Elah, son of Baasha, they were glad. But they didn't like Zimri either. So although he was leading the army down here, when he went back up here and he heard that Elah was killed, he saw an opportunity to move in. But they did not like him. The army did not like him. The generals did not like him. So they made Omri their commander. That's another general. We're not going with you. We're going with Omri. Okay? So they made Omri the commander, king of Israel. Then they withdrew from the Gibbethon and marched back to Tirzah. Zimri saw that the city was surrounded and would soon be taken. He went into the palace, set it on fire, and died in the flames. So when the army was coming back with all the general now, led now by Omri, Zimri decided, no, I cannot face Omri. I don't have the manpower to face Omri. So he committed suicide, set the palace on fire, and everything burned down on him. The Lord allowed this to happen because of all the wicked things that Zimri had done. During his 1 week in office, he did the same wicked thing that Jeroboam had done. We're going to come to Jeroboam in a while. Now, all the things Zimri had done and so on is written in the book of Chronicles. Then the people of Israel, look at verse 21. Then the people of Israel were divided over who should be the next king. So here, Omri just killed another general, Zimri, and everybody saying, now who are we going to proclaim king? Some wanted Tibni, the son of Ginath, to be king, and others went along with the troops and accepted Omri as their king. So you see now, the nation is split. Some want Tibni, the son of Ginath, to be king, another strong man. And some were saying, we're going to go with Omri. So the nation was in civil war. After more than 4 years of civil war, Tibni was killed, and Omri was accepted as king of Israel. So the nation back and forth between Omri, between Tibni and Omri. But then Omri prevailed. He prevailed over Tibni, and he became king of Israel. In the 31st year of the reign of Asa, king of Judah, Omri became king over the entire country of Israel. He ruled for 12 years from the time his troops first proclaimed him king. For 6 years he ruled from Tirzah, the capital. Then, this same Omri, he got rid of all his rivals. And he is the undisputed king now of the northern tribe of Israel. He decided that he's going to move his capital. Let's go. Then for 6 years he ruled over Tirzah, the capital. Then he bought a hill from a man named Shema for 150 pounds of silver. Here is where Omri built the fortified city, which he called Samaria. And this is where you get the word Samaritans. Okay, so this Omri bought this piece of land for 150 pounds of silver, and he decided to move it because it was more strategic. It was on a higher plateau, and it was able to defend. He was able to defend his country better. So Omri decided to move the capital to Samaria, and he moved his capital there. It was situated for defense as well as beauty. But Omri did worse in the sight of the Lord than all the kings of before him. He followed Jeroboam. Every time you see when it comes to the end of this guy's life, they will say they continue in the sin of Jeroboam. They continue in the sin of Jeroboam. They do more wickedness than Jeroboam. So he continued in the sin of Jeroboam, followed his wicked examples, and continued to worship worthless idols, and led the people of Israel into even greater apostasy, which greatly displeased the Lord. So this is the background. Okay. Civil war in the northern kingdom, but there is a sign of stability. And all this, they keep saying, is points back to Jeroboam. Now, let's go and find out about this guy called Jeroboam. 1 Kings chapter 11. Because it is important to understand the history. We need to understand who Jeroboam was. 1 Kings chapter 11, verse 26. Then the Lord, I'm reading from the Clearwood Bible. Then the Lord allowed Jeroboam the son of Nebat to rebel against Solomon. He was one of Solomon's young officials from Zerida in Ephraim. His father was dead, but his mother Zurah was still living. The rebellion inside the country started while Solomon was building the terrace garden and fortifying the eastern walls of Jerusalem. We could go back to that map. So while Solomon was consolidating, but he started off good, but he ended up moving away, because we all know the story. Started to marry for diplomatic reasons, for convenient reasons, starting to worship these other idols, starting to move away. And the minute you start to move away from God, things are going to go down. Okay? So that the Bible says here, the rebellion inside the country started while Solomon was building the terrace garden and fortifying the eastern walls of Jerusalem. Jeroboam was a very competent official. When Solomon noticed how hard he worked and how conscientious he was, he put him in charge of the entire labor force from the tribe of Ephraim and Manasseh. So he was an ambitious man. He was moving up, and he was walking the walk and talking the talk. He was the man. And Solomon recognized in that general there, that young man there, there is something. One day, as Jeroboam left Jerusalem, Ahijah the prophet from Shiloh met him on the road out in the open country. Ahijah was wearing a new robe, a new outer robe. As they talked together, suddenly Ahijah took off his robe and, to the surprise of Jeroboam, tore it into 12 pieces. So this young general, the priest in Israel, come to him, new robe, took it off, tore it into 12 pieces. Here, take 10 of these pieces, said the prophet. They are for you. The Lord says, I will take the united kingdom away from Solomon and give 10 of the tribes to Jeroboam. So this is the prophet telling him, God sent me with a message, and it's symbolic. Take my coat, tear it into 12 pieces and give you 10. What a thing. If you were Jeroboam, how would you feel? How would you feel? Surprise! You will be wondering, what? Something is coming to me? 10? What is this symbolic lesson? And of course, these generals are plotting, and they are plotting, and they are plotting all the time. But for the sake of my servant David, the city of Jerusalem, which I have made my own, and the tribe of Judah with the little tribe of Benjamin, will stay with his descendants. Solomon had disobeyed me in worshiping foreign gods such as Ashtoreth, Shemok, and Molech. All these were foreign gods. And I don't have time to go into the kind of gods these were. But when you start to look at the worship, some of them you have to sacrifice the children through fire. And God was displeased with what Solomon had ended up, or how Solomon had ended up. He is no longer walking after my ways, keeping my commandments, or doing what is right as his father David did. I will let Solomon stay. This is what God is saying. I will let Solomon stay on the throne and continue to rule Israel as long as he lives. I'm doing this for the sake of his father David, whom I had made king of Israel, and who loved me and kept my commandment and tried to do what was right. So God said, I wouldn't rent the kingdom from him yet. I let him continue because of his father David. You see, sometimes the sin of the father could bless you as well as curse you. So this is one instance, not only curse on you, but where the blessing of the father could be upon you. When Solomon is dead and his son is king, I will give the 10 tribes to you. That is what he is telling Jeroboam. I will give one large and one small tribe to the son, so that David will always have a descendant on the throne in Jerusalem, the city which I have made my own. As for you, Jeroboam, you will rule over Israel, which is what you desire, and be king over 10 tribes. If you listen to me and keep my commandments and do what is right, as my servant David did, I will be with you as I am with him. I was with him, sorry. You and your descendants will be the future king of Israel, and I will build you a dynasty as enduring as the dynasty of David. Because of Solomon's sin, I will humble David's descendants. Solomon tried to kill Jeroboam. So the news is now the prophet has spoken, and the prophet has anointed, and the prophet have chosen. And of course, no king wants to be told that, because he knows that he is not going to succeed. He is not going to rule. He's going to be a lesser man. So the word get out, and of course he sent words that Jeroboam must be put to death. We know that Saul did the same thing when Samuel anointed David. It become untenable for him to continue. He feared Jeroboam would try to cause a revolt. So Jeroboam left Jerusalem and went away to King Shishak in Egypt, when Ahijah met him. He remained in Egypt until Solomon died. So he had to flee, because the word is on the street, assassinate him. He is my rival now. All right? Now, let's move on. Chapter 12, verse 1. For his courage, so Solomon is dead now, and his son Rehoboam is going to be coronated king of all Israel. For his coronation ceremony, Rehoboam went to Shechem, where the leader of Israel wanted to make him king. Jeroboam was in Egypt, not on the scene. So Jeroboam was quite away in Egypt, not near, to escape being killed by Solomon. When he heard that Solomon was dead, he returned to Ephraim. The leaders of Israel invited Jeroboam to come to Shechem to join them for the coronation of Solomon's son Rehoboam as the new king of Israel. So of course the threat is gone, so he decided to come back out of exile. And he comes back. But it turns up now, the people say, look, we are going to make Rehoboam king, but we want you to be in the ceremony. We know that Solomon wanted to kill you, but we patch up now. Let's see if you can come back and let's be part of this coronation. They also asked Jeroboam to speak to Rehoboam about the heavy taxes that they were asked to pay. So they say, well, we want you to be our spokesman to Rehoboam. Tell him things are tough. Because it's war all the time, and to bankroll the war is money. And that's how kings were bankrupted in times past, even in the Middle Ages. They cannot afford, and that's why they say Richard was such a tyrant king, and Henry the Sixth was such a tyrant king because they couldn't. It was too expensive fighting this fight, and what they had to do to get money in the coffers, raise taxes. Taxes means pressure on the people. So he said, "Look, tell Rehoboam, ease us up a little bit. Taxes are too high." So Jeroboam said to Solomon's son, that is Jeroboam, "Your father was hard on us by asking us to pay such heavy taxes. Lower our taxes, and we'll be happy to serve you as our king." Rehoboam said, "Come back the day after tomorrow, and I'll give you an answer." So Jeroboam and the leaders left. So, he came and made with a delegation. "Look, things are tough. The country is not going so well. We are under some pressure here. Ease us up a little bit," as we'll say in Norman parlance today. But Rehoboam said, "Look, go, I'll come back. I'm going to think about it. Come back in about 3 days' time." Then Rehoboam called all the counselors together, those who had served under his father Solomon, and said to them, "What advice do you have for me about the request the people have to lower their taxes?" They said, "If you were to serve the people and be a shepherd to them, be kind and give him a favorable answer, and they will willingly serve you forever." So this is what the council of the older men said. Listen, ease it up. Ease it up. Be kind to them. Show some generosity. Show that you care about them, and they will serve you forever. But Rehoboam didn't like their answer and called his younger counselors, those who had grown up with him, his peers, his mates, as we'll say today, and asked them what to do. He asked them, "What's your advice? What do you say I should do about the request of the people to lower their taxes?" The young man answered, "Tell the people who complain about your father's high taxes that your little finger is thicker than your father's waist. Tell them that if they thought your father's taxes were heavy, they haven't seen anything yet. Taxes will not be heavier than your father's ever were. If they felt like your father was beating them with ordinary whips, they will now feel the sting of cattle whips. These people need to know who is in charge, or they'll never respect you." That's the counsel of the young men. Talking about pressure, show them who is king. Show them who is boss. Show them who is in control. If they think they had it hard under Solomon, multiply it. Show them who is in control. On the third day, Jeroboam, verse 12, and the leaders of Israel returned to get Rehoboam's decision. Rehoboam ignored the advice of the older men and spoke harshly to the delegation. He followed the advice of his young friend, saying, "You people complain about heavy taxes my father laid on you, but I'll make your taxes even heavier. You said you felt like my father was whipping you, but I'll beat you so hard you'll feel you have been stung by scorpions." Rehoboam did not listen to the people and determined to rule them with a rod of iron. But the Lord would not let him carry out his policy. So what Ahijah the Shalomite had said to Jeroboam came true. So he said, God is not going to allow that. When the people realized that Rehoboam would not listen to them, they said, "We are not related to David. Why should we support one of his descendants? Let's leave this place. Let Rehoboam rule his own people." So they turned and left and did not accept him as king. They split the kingdom, and from then on, Rehoboam only ruled over the people of Judah and Benjamin. So they said, we don't have to take that from David, from Rehoboam. Who is Rehoboam? Let's live here. Let's go and form our own government. Let's form our own kingdom. So they went, and we made Jeroboam king of the northern tribe. Then Rehoboam sent Adoniram, chief of Israel labor force, to go out immediately to get some more workers for his building project. But the people of Israel stoned Adoniram, and he died. When Rehoboam saw that the rebellion was real, he ran to his chariot and raced back to Jerusalem. So the 10th tribe of Israel rebelled against the house of David and formed their own kingdom. Never again were they part of the kingdom of Judah. They sent for Jeroboam and made him the king of Israel. Only the tribe of Judah and the little tribe of Benjamin stayed with Rehoboam. When Rehoboam got back to Jerusalem, he called up all his fighting men of Judah and Benjamin, 180,000 of them, to fight against the 10th tribe of Israel to the north. He wanted to bring them back under his control. But the Lord said to Shammah the prophet, I want you to talk to Rehoboam the son of Solomon, who is king of Judah and Benjamin. Give him and his people this message. The Lord does not want you to attack your brothers. Send all your troops back home. The dividing of the kingdom is from me, and what has happened has my approval. Rehoboam and the official listened to the Lord, and all the troops were sent back. So this is what is the background here. And of course, what Rehoboam did that caused the problem with God now, because God has said, if you listen to me, Jeroboam, and you follow me, you will be all right. But if you don't, it's not going to be nice with you. Here is what happened. Jeroboam fortified the city of Shechem in the mountain north of Ephraim and made it his capital. So even before Tisna, Shechem was the capital. He also rebuilt the town of Penuel on the other side of Jordan and made it a military outpost. Jeroboam wondered how he would keep the 10 tribes away from the tribe of Judah. He thought, these people will go to Jerusalem to worship, and it won't be long they will give their allegiance to Rehoboam. Because once a year they had to go to Jerusalem. You know that? For the time say it again. Passover. That's right. They all had to go. So Jeroboam is thinking, if they keep going now and mingling with the people of of Israel, the southern tribe, somehow they might go back. Somehow they might sympathize and go back. People change, and things quiet down after a while. So what he came up with a clever plan, too clever for himself. These people, he says in verse 27, will go back to worship, and it won't be long they will give their allegiance to Rehoboam. If I object, they will turn around and kill me. So he talked the problem over with his advisors and decided to make 2 golden calves like the one Aaron had made at the foot of Mount Sinai. Then he said to the people, listen to me, my Israelite brothers. These calves represent the presence of the Lord our God who brought us out of the land of Egypt. From now on, you don't need to go all the way to Jerusalem and worship the Lord. He built a shrine for one calf in Bethel, in the south near the border of Judah, and another in Dan, in Israel northern border. What a genius of a plan. But it wasn't a good plan. Bad decision. He built 2 shrines, right? He built one down here, Bethel, so that those who are down here don't have to go all the way to Jerusalem. Did we see Bethel? No, Bethel is not here. So it's somewhere down here. I think this is it, right? And he say, so those who down there, go there and worship. And then he built one Dan, up north. Those on that extreme, you go, so you don't have to go down into Jerusalem, because you see this is going to cause problem for me. What he did is set up 2 idols, and he said, this is your God. Now this is what is that? What will we say that is in theology? Idolatry, apostasy. That's not what God wanted at all. What Jeroboam did led the Israelites away from God into idolatry. Most people went to Dan to worship the calves there. Jeroboam built shrines for other gods throughout the country and appointed common men, regardless of character, to serve as priests because the Levites refused to participate. As a result, the morals of the people sank lower than ever. Then he instituted a rival religious festival to be held throughout the country on the 15th day of the 8th month, in opposition to the festival of tabernacles held in Jerusalem on the 15th day of the 7th month. So everything he paralleled. Notice that. So they had the feast of Passover. Two places you can go. You don't have one, you have 2. You can either go to Bethel in the south, or you can go to Dan in the north. And then all the feasts he replicated. And this is diabolical, and we know that it's coming strictly from the devil. At the opening of the religious festival on the 15th day of the 8th month, Jeroboam went to Bethel to personally officiate as the priest at the dedication of the new altar. So he said, I am going down there and I am going to institute it. And everybody in Israel now follow me. Bad, bad business. Bad, bad business. So, idol worship, civil war. Things are not looking good. Now the question is, why did the kings of the northern kingdom fail so badly? What was it? The answer is down to their leadership qualities and abilities. That's the problem. They fail, firstly and foremost, because they refuse to follow God. But as leaders, they lack certain qualities and abilities. I know that my time is fast spent, so I'm going to spend about 5 more minutes just wrapping this thing up now. So what are these qualities and abilities that make a good leader? Because they were failing badly in the north. A leader is one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. Now they had leadership in the sense, qualities in the sense that they were leading people into the wrong path, not to God. Irrespective of how you define a leader, he or she can prove to be to be a difference maker between success and failure. A good leader has futuristic vision and knows how to turn his idea into real world-class success story. So maybe we could stretch it and say Jeroboam had a futuristic vision. Maybe we could say that he was a futuristic leader because he saw the problem and he dealt with the problem by setting up these two center of worship. But he was providing a leadership, yes. What kind of leadership? Another quality, honesty and integrity. This is where he may have some good qualities, but others may not good. The supreme quality of leadership is unquestionably integrity. Did he have integrity when it comes to the work of the Lord? No. Subtlety may deceive subtlety may deceive you. Integrity never will. So you see, he feel he's clever. He feel he knows how to machinate. He feels he knows how to do it, subtly. It doesn't look in the beginning dangerous, but it is subtle. And so he has this, and he feel he is too smart. So you're getting that aim. The dictionary defines subtlety as anything you will do to get your aim, good or bad. You will do it to get your aim. And I like this other quote. It is true integrity alone will make you a leader, but without integrity you will never be one. So he needed to be have integrity. If I said this building have integrity, the walls of this building have integrity, what do I mean? They will support the roof. It is built, it is strong, it will not buckle under pressure. And so, integrity is, we are saying, is not everything. But you, as a leader, you must have integrity. This is where he was subtle, but he lacked integrity. Confidence. To be an effective leader, you should be confident enough to show that others will follow your leading. If you're unsure about your own decision and qualities, then others will be unsure. As a leader, you have to be oozing with confidence and must have the ability to be assertive. This does not mean that you should be overconfident, but you should at least reflect the degree of confidence required to ensure that your followers trust you as a leader. So this is probably a good quality because we could argue perhaps Jeroboam had confidence, oozing in confidence, but when you strip it away, no. Because if he had confidence in God, he would not have established those two rival cities. He lacked confidence. He was putty in the hand of the devil, of Satan. So if you're unsure about your own quality, who is going to be sure? Nobody. So you've got to be confident and you must assert yourself. You must be able to inspire others. Probably the most difficult job for a leader is to persuade others to follow. You do this by leading and setting the example. When the going gets tough, others look up to you and see how you react to the situation. If you handle it well, they will be inspired to follow you. A leader should have a positive approach in his or her thinking and behavior. He or she must be able to stay calm under pressure and keep the motivation level up. As John Quincy Adams puts it, if your action inspires others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. Commitment and passion. A leader must be passionate about the cause. Martin Luther said, if you don't have a cause from which you are willing to die, you haven't begun to live. So you must have a cause in life. If you are going through life passionless, you cannot be inspire others. Something must drive you. Some cause. And I tell you, the cause of Christianity have driven millions of us because we believe in our commander. We believe in Lord Jesus. And it will drive us. And the leader must have passion. And there will be no cause. You can't be half-heartedly in the cause. It's better you're not in the cause. If you're in the struggle for the civil rights movement, you must be in the struggle. If you're in the struggle for black consciousness, you got to be in the struggle. If you're in the struggle for independence, you got to be in the struggle. Ask those people in the Caribbean, those leaders of old, Manley and Williams and all of them, and even on the African continents. They were strugglers, and they were willing to fight and give their life for the cause. Passion is what moves you to get things done. It infuses and affects others to do likewise if you are passionate. If as a leader you lack commitment, half-hearted, and passion, it soon shows. Others are wrong. You will quickly conclude you are not fully committed or lacks passion. Then it would be an uphill task for you to motivate others to achieve the goal. A leader must be passionate about the cause. Whatever he is doing, he must do it with passion, or she must do it with passion. He must be a good communicator. Until you clearly communicate your vision to your team and tell them the strategy to achieve the goal, it will be very difficult for you to get the results you want. So the best of intention, if you cannot communicate what is your strategy, what you are moving, where you are heading, you are useless as a leader. Now in my job, I am always doing strategies, writing strategies, coming up with strategies, coming up with long-term vision, coming up with long-term plans, because that's the only way we can move people in a certain direction. You cannot operate as a leader day to day, making decisions one today. You have to have, and most of the strategies I'm talking about is 3 to 5 year strategy. That is the only way you have KPIs. You know what KPIs stand for? Key performance indicators, how you are moving in that direction. And I pray God that your new pastor, our new pastor, will have a strategy. I hope he has a strategy. I believe he has a strategy how this church is going to move in the next 5 years, where we are going to end up, where we are going to land, how we are going to grow, how we are going to move this church, how we are going to get out in the community, how we are going to fulfill our vision to preach this gospel into all the world. That's the overall vision. And we have to take that vision now and we have to cut it down into the strategy for this church. And until we come up with that, we are just running church. You're just running church here today, knock here today, knock here today. Until we have a thorough strategy. And I pray God that God will bless Pastor Robert Osai Bonsu to lead in a strategy. Simply put, if you are unable to communicate your message effectively to your team, you can never be a good leader. Words have the power to motivate people and make them do the unthinkable. If you use them effectively, you can achieve great results. So you have to communicate your strategy. A leader must make decisions and must be able to make good decisions. You see the problem with Rehoboam? What the decision he made when he was facing such a crisis? He listened to 2 parties, but he made a bad decision. He went with the young men. He didn't went with the old men who were wise counselors and experienced counselors. Apart from having a futuristic vision, a leader should have the ability to take the right decision at the right time. Decisions taken by leaders have a profound impact on others. A leader should think long and hard and seek counsel if necessary before making any major decision. But once the decision is taken, stand by it. Ellen White said, once it's better you go forward and fail than you ditter all the time. Not moving, stick on the spot, can't go forward. She says it's better to go forward and fail. But she hates leaders who are dittering on the spot. A leader must think. You got to think. You got to listen to the views. You got to listen to the counsel of others. And you got to make your decision. But once you make your decision, if it turns out to be wrong, change your course. And that is what Rehoboam did not do. When he learned what he should have changed tack. But what he did, he wanted to hold on. He wanted to hold on to the wrong decision that he made. And of course, he cannot win with God. So you have to have decision-making capabilities, accountability. A good leader takes more than his share of the blame. Notice that. He takes more than his share of the blame and less of the share of his credit. So he's willing to put his hands up and take the blame. Less credit. He's not one who only showing off and wants to say, hey, it's me did it, it's me did it, it's me did it. A good leader will take more than his share of the blame and less than his share of the credit. Make sure that every one of your followers is accountable for what they are doing. If they do well, give them a pat on the back, but if they struggle, make them realize their mistake and work together to improve. So you are motivating others. You are motivating. This is part of my job I do every day. Motivating others. Motivating others. Come, let's go again. Pick up yourself and let's go again. Holding them accountable for their actions will create a sense of responsibility. The worst you can have is people who don't have accountability for their action. So they're doing anything and they don't realize that they're doing what they might be doing is wrong. You got to hold even your children accountable for their actions. Your spouses, your whoever, the minister, whoever you have to hold accountable for his or her action. Action will create a sense of responsibility among your followers and they will go about their business more seriously. You see this thing about accountability? It is important. And one of the reasons that the church is going as it is because, and I'm not talking here about Aylesbury Church in specific, I'm talking about worldwide, because of lack of accountability. What's that one? Say it again. Our good leaders know when to get out. The problem with some leaders is that they don't know when to quit. And they're holding on forever. And they're holding on, and they will drag the whole country down. And that is happening in some of the African countries. They don't know when to quit. But a good leader knows when to get out. He knows when he has used his goodwill. He knows when his time is up. And a sensible leader will get out before you have to carry him out kicking and screaming. No good leader will go out kicking and screaming. But he's wise and he's perceptive and he knows when to quit. When quitting is done correctly, it isn't giving up. It's making room for something better. And I like this other quote here. Sometimes it's not the time you decide to fight. Sometimes it's not the time you decide to fight, but the times you decide to surrender. Those are the decisions that can make all the difference. Those are the ones that can shape your story in history. Not all the time. A good leader knows when to get out of the way and let somebody else carry on. Any leader who don't have that ability, they are going to be a dictator. They are going to rule with an iron hand because they don't understand when it is time to give him. I like Mr. Mandela. He took his 2 terms. And he said, you know what? I will set a proper example. I will leave at the end of 2 terms. So nobody will say my example is to hold on and to hold on and to hold on. A good leader knows when it is time to quit. So, we could talk about the transformational leader. And I think I've seen you talk about that, Errol. Have you spoken about transformational leader before? Yeah. Asa was a transformational leader. I don't have time to go through 2 Chronicles. But I want you to read it when you go home. Because he was a transformational leader. When he was told what needed to be done, he did it. We could go through 2 Chronicles. Next time I preach, I'll go through 2 Chronicles about the transformational leader. Because he transformed his vision. He broke down the idols. He began, when the prophet came and told him what needs to be done, he began to implement the plan. He had a vision. Even his mother-in-law, he got rid of because she was leading them into idol worship. A transformed leader will transform. A leader who have the ability to transform. Transformational leadership can be seen when leaders and followers make each other advance to a higher level of morality and motivation. The strength of their vision and personality, transformational leaders change expectation, perception, and motivation to work towards common goal. So you are able to transform this whole thing, move it onto a higher plateau, because you have people who are following and feeding into your vision. It is based on the leader's personality, traits, and ability to make a change through example, articulation of an energizing vision, and challenging goals. Transforming leaders are idealized in the sense that they are a moral exemplar of working towards the benefit of the team, organization, or community. They say Barack Obama was transformational in his vision for running for the president of the United States. Came out from nowhere. But the vision he espoused to the nation of United States of America transformed their thinking. We can do. Was that the motto? Yes, we can. Sorry. Yes, we can. And that vision of giving them that motivation, yes, we can. Hardly, it's not so easy to remove structures that are deep, or behaviors that are set in, or ideas that are archaic. It's hard to remove those things when it is set in. But he had a transformational vision for the United States, and he won 2 terms based on that transformational leadership. He didn't realize all his goals because, as I say, when structures are set in, when certain cultures are set in, and how things are done, and where the powers are held and so on, it's not so easy. But when he came into office, he came as a transformational leader. And he was able to inspire all these young people to vote for him, to go for him, to buy into his vision. And this is what we need. Ellen White say, we need leaders who will stand to the pole, who will not fall, who will not be brought to soul though the heavens are fall. We need leaders who are transformational. Read 2 Chronicles when you go home today and ask God, as we move in this, the work that he has given us to do, I hope that my message would have inspired us to be transformational leaders. May God bless you.